The city skyline was painted with the hues of the setting sun as Spider-Man perched atop a towering skyscraper, his senses on high alert. The air buzzed with anticipation, for he knew tonight would bring a confrontation like no other. Across the horizon, the mechanical whirring of wings echoed. Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, soared into view, his silhouette casting a menacing shadow against the twilight. Spider-Man leaped into action, swinging gracefully towards his adversary. "Toomes!" he shouted, his voice echoing through the concrete canyons. "It's over. There's nowhere left to run." The Vulture circled, his eyes gleaming with a dangerous glint. "You've been a thorn in my side for too long." "Spider-Man," he retorted, adjusting the controls on his armored suit. "Tonight, you'll pay for your meddling." Without warning, the Vulture dove, talons outstretched. Spider-Man reacted with lightning speed, shooting a web to a nearby building and launching himself out of harm's way. The Vulture's talons scraped against the steel beam where Spider-Man had stood just moments before, sending sparks flying. Spider-Man landed on the side of a building and immediately fired a series of web shots at the Vulture, aiming to immobilize his wings. The Vulture twisted mid-air, dodging most of the webs but getting one wing partially ensnared. He spiraled out of control for a moment before stabilizing, rage boiling in his eyes. "You're quick, Spider-Man, but not quick enough," the Vulture snarled. He fired a barrage of high-tech feathers from his wings. Spider-Man flipped and spun, narrowly avoiding the deadly projectiles, each one whistling past him with lethal intent. Their aerial duel continued, a high-stakes dance above the city. Spider-Man swung through the maze of buildings, using his agility to outmaneuver the Vulture's relentless attacks. But the Vulture was cunning and experienced, predicting Spider-Man's moves with unnerving accuracy. Suddenly, the Vulture lunged, catching Spider-Man off guard. His talons clamped onto Spider-Man's shoulder, and he lifted him high above the rooftops. Spider-Man struggled. The ground far below a dizzying blur. "Let's see how you like heights," the Vulture shouted, throwing Spider-Man towards the ground. Spider-Man twisted in mid-air, firing a web at the last second to save himself. He swung back up, feet first, slamming into the Vulture's chest. The impact sent both of them tumbling through the sky. They separated, catching their breath for a moment, their eyes locked in mutual determination. "You're not getting away that easily," Spider-Man muttered, launching himself back into the fray. He aimed for the Vulture's jet pack, knowing it was the key to grounding his foe. The Vulture dodged, but Spider-Man's persistence paid off. He managed to latch a web onto the jet pack and yank it forcefully. The Vulture's suit sputtered, and he lost altitude. With a roar of anger, he ripped the webbing away and swooped back up, claws bared. "You're meddling with things you don't understand, boy," he growled, diving at Spider-Man with renewed fury. Spider-Man braced himself, their final clash imminent. They met mid-air in a flurry of punches, kicks, and webbing. Each strike was countered with equal ferocity, neither giving an inch. The city below watched in awe as the two titans battled for supremacy. In a desperate move, the Vulture grabbed Spider-Man by the neck, his grip tightening. Spider-Man struggled, his vision blurring. Summoning his last reserves of strength, he fired a web at the Vulture's helmet, blinding him momentarily. The Vulture's grip loosened just enough for Spider-Man to break free. Spider-Man flipped over the Vulture and landed a powerful kick to his back, sending him spiraling downward. The Vulture's wings malfunctioned, sparks flying as he plummeted towards a rooftop. With a final web shot, Spider-Man snagged the Vulture's leg, yanking him back up and slamming him onto the roof. Both combatants lay still for a moment, panting heavily. The Vulture struggled to rise, but his suit sparked and failed, grounding him for good. Spider-Man stood over him, bruised but victorious. "It's over, Toomes," he said, his voice steady. The Vulture's eyes flickered with defiance, but he knew the fight was lost. "This isn't the end, Spider-Man," he muttered, before losing consciousness. Spider-Man webbed the Vulture securely and signaled the authorities. As the sirens approached, he looked out over the city, knowing that tonight justice had prevailed.